What's up? Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Real Estate Keys with my favorite. Who are you? Who are you?
I am Joe Does Mortgages. How's everybody doing? NMLS 1925079. Good evening, everyone.
Good
Welcome
evening,
back to the
Joe.
show.
Good evening. Welcome back, my man. And I am, of course, John Johnson Signature Group, Exit Platinum Realty. Um, over the past several weeks, um, and few months actually, we've been rolling out a lot of content led by Mr. Joe Does Mortgages here on different programs and different ways that people can maneuver the market when it comes to buying and selling. Um, one of the key components that I think we need to probably circle back on is, those documents that pretty much every buyer needs when it comes to any of these programs that Joe has brought to the forefront and has really went into a lot of detail on. And, lately I've been getting bombarded with a lot of pre-qualification letters, which I despise, and you'll understand why. Not only
You
do
can
I,
opt out. I just did the training on that. You can opt out, John.
okay, yeah, I mean, not only do I despise pre-qualification letters, but many, if not all realtors out there despise pre-qualification letters. We love pre-approval letters. So we're going to spend some time going through the key differences in pre-qualification letters versus a pre-approval letter, and what's required to actually obtain both of them. So hopefully at the end of this session, everyone, meaning you, will understand why realtors like pre-approval letters versus pre-qualification letters. So to help us out, Joe, what we got?
Let's go over the rates before we get started. Everyone's favorite part of the show. So it's we had somewhat of a red day. We had a great bounce on Friday as far as rates go. This is what we're looking at. Again, I'm not quoting my rate or anyone else's bank. This is just a ballpark of someone with a 720 score looking at a loan amount of about 250,000, putting 20% down. This is what your rates would be looking like. Again, I'm not stating that these are my rates or anyone else's rate. This is just an average of what we're looking at as far as the rates are for this week. So pretty much in line where they've been in the last couple of weeks. But as always, if you would like a pre-qualification, pre-approval, that I am the man to see. Absolutely. So John, everyone gets these letters in the mail, right? How many do you probably get a day, John? How many pre-qualification uh, credit card offers do you get in the mail every day?
Way too many, enough to start a nice little forest fire in my backyard. Too much mail.
I've tried to use those on the barbecue grill. They don't burn very well.
Nah.
They're made of some sort of latex or something like that. They don't burn like normal.
Yeah, not the kind of flavor you want in your burger.
They're like roaches. They're hard to get rid of. Yeah, so we've all gotten this pre-approval letter, these pre-qualification, letters in the mail from credit card companies, right? So our topic today is gonna be similar to those. Pre-approval, pre-qualification. Most, I'm gonna say all, right, John? Real estate agents
Oh,
not show you any houses until you are properly pre-approved. And what is the difference? The difference between a pre-approval and a pre-qualification is simply putting it this way. You go on a website, you put in your information, and they give you a poll based off your income and maybe a soft credit check will give you a ballpark number of how much of a loan you could qualify for, right? That's it. That's simple. Probably get it back in about 10 to 15 seconds, right? It takes a minute to fill out the application, 10 to 15 seconds to get applicated. So you're approved. You're racing to, to exitplatinum.com. Oh, what's the website actually, John? What's the website? Where would they go?
Well, they would go to johnjohnson3.com, or
Okay.
they can go to exitofmontclair.com as well. Either way.
Okay. Or they come running up those beautiful steps you got in front of your building, right? They're running up those stairs so fast they're just tripping on top of themselves.
Breaking
I
down
got
the
a
door.
pre-qualification letter. I saw this house down the block over here in Montclair that's 500,000. When can you take me out to show this house? What would be your answer, John?
Let me see that
It
letter
literally
again.
says pre-qualification right on the top of it.
Yeah,
Based off, and at the bottom of the fine print, it says based off verification of income, verification of seasoned funds, verification of work history, verification of credit.
yeah. So
In the
someone
fine print.
someone came to 200 Claremont Avenue, Montclair, with that letter, waving it in the air, waving it in the air. I would say I'm very happy that you decided to use us to begin your home search. But let's talk a little bit about the home buying process. And we would then go into the conference room and we would talk about that pre-qualification letter they have.
Mhm.
And I would ask some simple questions. Number one, how did you come across this letter? Did you happen to submit any supporting documentation? Because in reading this letter, I understand there are a number of things that need to be verified.
No, I
And
didn't have to verify anything. It said take this to your local real estate agent right there. It said it
yeah,
on page 2.
yeah. But I think the buck is going to stop when that person says, well, I didn't submit anything, or I just went online and filled this out, and boom, just
No,
like
no,
that.
no, no, no. The guy I talked the mortgage lender I talked to at the wedding last week. He just asked me my credit score and asked me if I worked at my current employer for over 2 years. He said I'll be good to go.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I've been around the block for 21 plus years. So I kind of can read behind all of that. And in the best interest of that buyer, okay, we are going to have a very deep conversation about who they met, what they told you, and the information that you did not give them, and what this letter really truly means to the seller, and the impact that letter can have on time that can potentially be wasted because of this letter that says pre-qualification on it.
Okay. So it means you're not gonna show me the house down the block around the corner with the
So
beautiful white picket fence?
that means if the house lasts that long on the market, I
Okay.
will definitely show you that home. However, we're going to get you a slightly different letter,
Okay.
which is going to say a pre-approval letter.
Okay.
And in order to get that, we're going to talk about a list of items that needs to be submitted to a reputable lender to get you
Okay.
pre-approved. Would you
Sounds
happen
like
to know what
it
you have?
sounds like a lot of work. It sounds like a lot of work, John. You're
Sounds like
losing
a
me.
lot of work.
You're losing me right now, John. You
Really?
sure?
Well, I don't know. If you're going to make probably one of the largest, if not the largest, purchase in your lifetime, I don't think it's going to be a lot of work. I mean, if you're looking at it as being work intensive and tedious and all that, then I don't think you're really ready to purchase a home. And that's all part of our initial consultation.
Okay. So I'm gonna switch my hat here for a second. Hey, great information, John. We make light of this, but it's not. It's not anything to joke about. This stuff is very. It can be very easy, or it can be very tedious, right? Depending on the bank that you work for. You have your online banks that you just basically submit everything. They analyze it, they get back to you, and they will get you a pre-approval letter within a few hours or up to a few days, right? But sometimes your income can be all over the place. right? I literally, I have a great example. I have a client that I'm working with right now. He literally had about 17, I'm exaggerating. He had about 9 different types of income on his pay stub. One job, regular pay, overtime, lifetime bonus.
Wow.
Uh,
Wow.
he had, I wish I could bring it up. It was literally about 9 different things, John. So at the bottom of his pay stub, it says he makes $8,000 a month, right? Out of that $8,000, we're using rough numbers, right? I'm just making them up. It's not the exact case. Um, Out of those 9 items of things that it showed on his pay stub, and when you look at the year to date, it says he made 150 something thousand a year. We only use two of those 9 things. We're
Mm.
only able to use two. So he actually, on paper, yes, he's made $155,000, but for the qualification and for his pre-approval, we only needed to use his regular income and his overtime. Because some of the other items, we have to see history on
Right.
there. We have to see that he's received overtime over a length of period. It can vary from one loan to another. We have to see that he's receiving these bonuses for a period of time. Not that it can't be that he's been at a company for 10 years and he got a $10,000 bonus and he's going, whoa,
Yeah.
by end of year, if we take $150,000, we're 11 months into the month, we divide it by 11. That's how much I've made this year. And that's how much the bank says I'm going to qualify for. That's not always the case. We have to see history, right? So that's the first thing. How long has he been at this job? Has he been at this job for over 6 months? Has he been out of the job market previous to this job? And how long was he out of the market? Was he out of the job market for 5, 6 years? All this stuff depends. It all matters.
Hmm.
So these are the couple of things we have to go through. We have to, as a lender, we have to go detail line by line before we're going to actually give someone a pre-approval. That's why the difference between a pre-qualification and approval at the end of the day is someone that's actually reviewing documents, 2 years work history, W-2s, recent pay stubs, 2 years tax returns, seasoned funds, the most important piece, I think, out of everything. So I've gotten all the other documents. We've figured out how much overtime you can make. You've made, and that we can actually use, that we've averaged down. We've seen your bonuses, whether we can use them or not. We see your income, right? How much you've made over the last year or so. And great. Now let's check your bank statements. Okay, great. You got $45,000 to put down on this home between your down payment and your closing costs. Could you do me a favor and go back 1 month just for jokes? And we don't see that same amount in that bank account. And I'll just say, well, do you have a 401k? Where did these funds come from? Oh, a cousin of mine, we were talking about this, about me buying a house. I'm the last person in the family to be a homeowner, and he gave me $45,000. Since then, he's gone to the moon. Elon, that rocket ship that Elon Musk, he's gone. Still alive. Nothing happened to him. He's just gone. Can't get in
Hmm.
contact. Give me the $45,000.
Hmm.
Guess what? You now have zero funds that we can use towards your down payment and closing,
Wow.
because the bank's gonna want to know, where did those funds come from? Is there a lien attached to that? Not necessarily a lien. Was there a debt attached to that? How do we prove that he gave you those funds? How do we prove where he got that money from? This is all the stuff that was added, as part of some of the regulation that was added after 2008, when we were just, they were called ninja loans. Just no income, no job, no asset, no verification. Those things don't happen anymore. Everything has to be traced.
Okay.
So
So, Joe,
every
I got a
bank,
couple questions.
go
So,
ahead.
let's go back to the whole employment um, scenario. So, let's say during COVID. I haven't worked. Got laid off back in 2020, right?
Mhm.
And
You got laid off during COVID.
got laid off during COVID,
Gotcha.
right? I said, all right, you know what? Things are back to normal. I'm going to go out here, interview, whatever. I got the experience, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And I get a job offer that's going to pay me X amount of dollars.
On the books or off the books?
No, on the book, straight
On the
W
books.
2
Okay.
job and
W two,
everything.
a pay stub.
Corporations
With
paying
the
me to
name of a
do a
bank.
service.
With the name of a
Absolutely.
bank at the top left corner when you receive your pay stub. Okay.
Absolutely. So can I now come to you and say, all right, Joe, get me pre-approved?
It varies. How long have you been at that job?
Well, I got a job offer and I start December 1st.
Is it salary? Is it hourly?
It's salary.
It's salary.
It's salary.
With an offer letter that says you are going to be making a salary of X amount of years.
Correct. And I've been off during COVID for almost 2 years.
We're most likely going to want to do some background investigation on where you worked previous to that, but most likely we can use that income.
Okay. Awesome.
Does vary.
Okay.
But most likely we can use that income. Now ask me the other side of the coin, John.
Well, here's the other side. Let's say I've been driving trucks.
All right. Okay, that's a great job.
Yeah. Left my job, started to drive trucks because freight is everything now, right? So I bought.
You should have saw the line to the ports the other day over here in Jersey.
Well, I was in that line, right, with my rig, with my trailer, and I'm making good money. I'm making $150,000 a year if I average it all out.
A year?
A year, man. A
wow,
year.
That's amazing.
One small issue though.
What's that?
I didn't quite file my taxes past 2 years, but I can show I got all the income.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So can you make that work? Can I get a pre-approval?
It varies. So for a government loan, it's probably not going to cut the mustard.
Okay. So when you say government loan, what do you mean?
FHA, conventional, maybe you were a veteran. Without those tax returns, it's not going to cut the mustard. But there's other ways to go about it as well. Now we're talking non-conventional loans, non-qualified loans.
Sounds like stuff we've talked about in previous episodes.
Absolutely. And I think we're just hitting the iceberg, the tip of the iceberg.
I think so too. Okay, so that's one scenario. Now I got another scenario for you. So I got this barbershop, and I've had it, gosh, for like 10 years.
You're the owner.
Yeah, I'm the owner, cut a lot of hair. I don't like to pay taxes, Joe. You know me. I don't like to pay those taxes, man.
That's why people get into business on their own.
That's right. I don't like to pay those taxes, man.
Let's not beat around the bush.
Yeah. So, I get paid a lot of cash. Barbershops, Joe, you've been there a couple of times. You pay cash, boom, done. But I don't necessarily report all of that. But Joe, I got it. I got it. Right? So can I get a pre-approval and buy something that way?
Have you filed your taxes? Have you filed your taxes in the last?
Yeah, I filed the taxes. Listen, Joe. Listen,
okay.
Between me and you, I make 100. Right, I make 100,000 a year.
Right? All right. Well, now we're talking.
But I only show them. Yeah, you know who we're talking about. Them. I only show them I'm making maybe 30. So I try to write.
Oh, that's awesome. And you're looking to get this pre-approval on your own?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And this would be New Jersey that you're trying to buy this house?
Yeah.
And you're telling me you make $30,000 a year?
But Joe, you know what I really make.
I heard you the first time. So you're telling me you only made $30,000 this year, and you want to buy a house in northern New Jersey?
Well, what's the issue?
The issue is we use stated income. We don't use cash. We cannot qualify anyone with cash. So whatever you're reporting,
what does that mean? What does stated income mean?
Which means whatever you are reporting to the government. either before or after deductions is what we can use to qualify you for, not cash. So whatever you're putting in the bank is what we can qualify you for. Whatever you put in your pocket and you put it under the mattress on when you get home, that's unfortunately monies we cannot use.
So it doesn't pay
Sorry to be Debbie
right off.
Downer.
So it doesn't pay to write off everything if you're trying to purchase real estate. Is what you're
It
saying.
does not. It does not. It actually hurts you. This is my favorite season of the year, especially let's say the Uber drivers, our rideshare drivers out there. There's nobody better. There's no other industry with people that know how to write off, and the government gives you incentives to write things off when you're an Uber driver or rideshare driver or DoorDash, whatever it may be. But the more you deduct, the less income you're reporting, depending on the type of loan. Now, again, we're talking conventional loans, government loans. The less you report, the lower the income. Now, if we want to do non-QM, basically anything outside of the normal structure, there's those options as well. We're going to get to that in the next couple of weeks. Bank statement loans.
Okay.
I'm going to say bank statement loans is my favorite.
Okay. Yeah, I think.
And that would be
our audience
non-conventional.
wants to know.
Non-conventional. There's different ways to say it.
Yeah.
Non-QM, non-conventional loans.
Yeah, I
There
think
is
our
ways to
audience
do
is
it.
going to be inclined to learning more about the non-conventional way of getting some of these loans. And we touched a little on it, but I think we really need to go in, especially around the approaching upcoming holiday season.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I know we're joking around and stuff like that, and we're doing different scenarios, but if you have your own business, you're self-employed, rideshare, barbershop, truck driver, delivery man, is there still Wonder Bread routes out there?
Oh man.
Am I showing my age?
Oh shoot. Yeah, you kind of went there.
Whether you have your own truck that delivers Snapples, this is the time of year to talk to a seasoned loan officer that will go and review your taxes with you before you submit them to the government. Because yes, you're renting, a beautiful apartment somewhere
Mm-hmm.
in I don't know, Union County somewhere, right? $3,000, one of these Vermella apartments, $3,000. You're making great income every year, but you're only reporting at the end of the day. And one of those, I think it's, what is it? I think it's like line 24, 25, somewhere in that range. You're only reporting out of that 150,000 that you're actually pocketing 30,000. It's going to be a little bit harder to qualify for a house in the 400, 500, unless you have a spouse or someone else that can co-sign with you to help you qualify for a larger purchase like that of a $400,000, $500,000 house. So do not file your taxes. You can get an estimate. There's a different term that accountants use that they will give to us to say, well, this is basically what we're going to report. This is the amount of deductions. And at the end of the game, I'm looking at that one line item. If it says, $60,000 and your spouse makes 60 as well, we got a deal. We're most likely going to be able to pre-qualify. We still have to check your credit and things of that nature.
Okay. This is good. This is good.
And one thing, John, before you continue, if you see, we've talked a lot about seasoned bank statements, tax returns, work history. The last thing we've talked about is credit. It is usually the last piece of it. Sometimes I'll even forget. I'll go through all of this other stuff. I will stay on the phone with you for an hour. And the last thing I mentioned is credit.
Mm-hmm.
You want to know why, John? You might know the answer.
Why? Tell me why.
Because unlike work history or the amount of money you make today, so if I say to you, you need to make, with $85,000, you can get this $400,000 house on your own. no co-signers, right?
Mhm.
I've checked your income. You make really good income at whatever company you worked at for the last 3 years. Got overtime that we can use that. We can use that for qualification purposes. Um, Everything's great, but your credit's not where it needs to be, right? And then I check it, and we're in maybe the 580s, 590s, right? The chances of someone being able with a qualified credit repair person of getting them to where we need to be are better chances than me talking to someone that wants to get a house on their own, making $45,000 and getting a bump up to 85,000 to qualify them. There is a 100% better chance of us getting your credit score from a 580 to a 650 than someone doubling their salary. You know, all power to you if you're able to double your salary in less than 6 months, right? But credit can be fixed, guys. The first thing everyone, oh, don't check my credit, don't check my credit, right? What do we do? What was the use of all this hard work that you did in the last couple of years to fix your credit and get it? We have to check your credit. You should be happy to have someone check your credit. It is your adult report card.
Yep.
It is your adult report. It shows how financially sound and how financially viable you are. This is how the lenders look at you, and you get a better interest rate the better your credit is at the same time, right? Don't let people fool you. It's the truth. Um, but credit can be fixed, guys. Whether by myself, I have a couple of tools that we can move. We can do like different scenarios. Well, if you bring down, you told me you have $50,000 to put down on this house, right? So maybe we don't buy down points as much as we wanted it to, right? Maybe we take $8,000, bring that credit card that's at 100% utilization down to maybe 10%, and then we'll see what your credit score can move up to. There's different ways to do it. Legally, you always want to do it the legal way. If you're talking to if you're talking to any of these, if you listen to these guys on YouTube, or your friend from around the way, or the guy you met at the car wash that tells you that his friend could remove credit, any derogatory information from your credit in less than 24 hours, all you got to do is meet me at the police station. We're going to file this fake police report. We're going to say that was you never applied for that credit card. Walk away, run. Walk away and then run.
Seriously. Wow. Wow. Very, very, very good advice. Way to paint a very clear picture on the importance of credit versus how much you actually make. The priority is really in how much you make, whereas credit, we can kind of make that work in less time.
No, there's definitely some credit repair people that are definitely doing things on the up and up that can either get it done or put you on a plan to where it
Mhm.
needs to be.
Awesome. Joe, as we wrap up, just reiterate documents that our folks need in
2 years,
most.
most important, 2 years tax returns, 2 years W-2s, your last two pay stubs, bank statements with seasoned funds, driver's license, social security, the basics, right? You can't even get a cell phone without a driver's license and a social security number if you're getting a standard cell phone plan. Um, that's pretty much it, guys. And then whatever, maybe there's child support involved. Maybe you're either receiving or paying. Maybe there's a tax lien that you haven't started making payments on. Maybe your student loans could affect your pre-qualification, but we don't do anything without those first couple of items to
Okay.
get started.
And as a
You fill out my
reminder,
application. Fill out my application. It takes 10, 15 minutes. Walk you right
right,
through it.
and just as a simple reminder, for those of you that don't have a social security number, check out one of our previous episodes where we talked about foreign nationals and those documents that you can provide in lieu of a social security card. Joe, how do they reach you, man?
As always, 908-669-9091. Joe does mortgages on all platforms. How do they get in contact with you, John?
Easy, 908 338-0639. And you see the hashtag right there. Put it in Google, Facebook, Instagram. Find me that way as well. Joe, appreciate you for
As
another
always, brother.
episode, man.
Remember,
It's the key.
divorce your landlord, date the interest rate, marry the house. Coming
That's
to
it,
the real
folks.
estate keys. It's coming to the real estate keys store sooner than you think.
Merch. We gotta get this
We
merch.
got the merch. We got that merch coming. It's all jokes, guys. This is all free information. Don't get fooled out there.
Guys, thanks for watching. See you next week.
All right, man. See you next week, man.